Student number 2 was a no-go. He'll never drive again in his life. Dropped him off yesterday because I knew something was wrong. I knew something was up. The first day he was with me, first day and a half, everything was going really well. We had a load going from Phoenix to Roswell. We happened to stop in Albuquerque, and that's where he lived. And he asked me if he could go home and grab a few things and spend the night at home because he hadn't been home in almost 2 months. So I was like, yeah, man, I don't care what you do on your off time as long as you're back at the truck by a certain time, and as long as you can do that and you're good to go. Well, apparently he took me saying I don't care what you do in your off time literally. What I meant was, and from now on I'll specify, is you're a grown adult, I'm a grown adult, this is the time we need to leave, make sure you have sleep, and don't do anything illegal. Never thought I'd have to tell another grown person to not do anything illegal, but apparently you have to. So he got back in the truck the next day after coming from the house. He was on time, that was cool. And noticed something different. I was assuming that maybe he stayed up all night at the house, taking care of some things that he hadn't taken care of in a while. And that was that, which wasn't a big deal. I was going to drive the beginning of the day anyways, and he could get some sleep in the truck. Well, today goes on. He starts driving. Things get a little weird while he's driving. He's more tired than he should be. His allergies were bothering him more than I've ever seen him bother anybody. But that was his excuse, was allergies. So we got to Roswell, delivered the load. We had to drive down to El Paso. Well, we're on our way to El Paso, and he's still really tired. And he shouldn't be really tired because he slept. He only drove maybe 300 miles that day. And for a new student, I get it, it's tiring, but he shouldn't have just been the way he was. I haven't seen a student before that was that tired. Now, after we get to El Paso, we pick up the load, we go to the terminal in El Paso, we sleep, we get up. I mean, he sleeps like 4 hours, gets up, you know, and then he's tired again. Well, I'm going to save some time and cut to the chase because there's a lot of things. Come to find out, he's a recovering addict from heroin. He was on these pills called Suboxone. Well, not only was he on Suboxone, but he was also popping Xanax. Now, there was a day, what is today? Wednesday? So Monday, we were dropping a load, picked up our empty, and things just seemed weird. He couldn't he couldn't walk a straight line. His speech was so slurred, and his face was red. Just things were going on. So I just asked him point blank. I was like, man, you got a substance problem? What's going on, man? This is what I'm noticing. And again, he's like, no, my allergies are really bad, and I'm tired, and it's a new job, and well, I was like, okay. We drove to a truck stop to take a shower. His backpack was open. In his backpack, I saw a box. I could read the name of it. So I looked it up on my phone and read up what Suboxone does. Now, then I texted him to come to the truck so I could talk to him. And he didn't want to really admit it at first, but I finally got him to admit it. And I didn't know what to do. There's things that say you can take Suboxone while driving, as long as the DOT physician knows and they can put you on the right dosage. And I was reading on some forums, and apparently there's a lot of truck drivers out here that are on Suboxone, and it's kind of scary. Now, if he was taking a Suboxone right, it shouldn't have affected him the way it did. You probably shouldn't have known that he was on it. but he's also mixing Xanax with it. And he had how I found out he had Xanax was he gave me his 2 boxes of his Suboxone, because until I figured out what was going on, I didn't want him to take it while he was on my truck. Well, I went to pull out his white paper from his Suboxone to read what it was and everything, and when I took it out, the whole bottom was filled with at least 20-25 pills of Xanax. Now, I didn't know they were Xanax, but I pulled the pill out and had some writing on it, and I used Google to look up what it was, and sure enough, it was a generic brand for Xanax, and don't know the name of it, but it was a generic brand for Xanax. Does the same shit. So then I was really mad. Come to find out, he said he has a prescription for it, but he said he hid the bottle because he didn't want me to know what it was. Well, this is what I think would happen. I think we got into Albuquerque, and I think he went home, and either his wife has a prescription for it, or his friends, or he bought it. I don't know. I think that's where he picked it up at, because it wasn't until then he started acting a lot different. Now, we stopped at a Walmart because he said he had to pick up a prescription, which he said was his antacid medicine, his stomach, his acid reflux medicine, and it wasn't. It was a Suboxone. Now, he never told Swift about this. He never came clean because he went to another trucking school, and they found out he was on Suboxone, and the school said you can't be on it and drive a truck, which is true, but not true. It's a case-by-case basis when it comes to Suboxone, and it all depends on your dose and how long you've been on it, and there's a lot of things, and it's really up to the DOT physician whether or not to give you the okay to drive, from what I was reading. Some people say that it's a strict no, and some people say yes, but from what I understand, it's just a case-by-case basis. Few things happened while he was on this Suboxone and the Xanax together, and yesterday he told me that he was taking it while driving because he was nervous in traffic. Traffic made him nervous. Now, I was a new driver. It does make you nervous, but if it makes you nervous to the point where you need to pop Xanax while taking Suboxone, I don't buy it. And I think what he was doing was, since he's a recovering addict, I think he was taking them both at the same time, trying to chase the high he used to be on. You know, he almost rear ended a Walmart truck, and he said he was hitting the brakes, but his foot was right next to the brake pedal, never once on the brakes, until I started yelling at him and said a couple cuss words, and then he got on the brakes. He couldn't stay in his lane after the first day. There was a couple times when he would stay decently straight if he was really focused, but this guy would just pass out in 10 seconds. We'd be in the he'd get up from bed after sleeping 7-8 hours, get up, he'd sit in the passenger seat, and he would just be like, "Okay, man, I'm up." I'm like, "Okay." Not even 10 seconds later, he is passed out.